Hello, and welcome to the Department of Nonprofit Management, Empowerment, and Diversity Studies at Slippery Rock University. My name is Cindy Lacombe. I'm in charge of the Gender and Diversity Studies concentration, and that's a lot of what I'm going to be talking to you about today. So our department has a very specific vision, and that is that our graduates are empowered to make a difference while making a living, and both are equally important. Our mission is to provide a flexible, interdisciplinary, and engaging experience so that students can identify and assess social issues, understand themselves, and be empowered to ethically change their communities and the world. So our mission actually is fairly grand, but it's something that I take very seriously and I'm passionately committed to. We have one degree in nonprofit management, empowerment, and diversity studies, but 6 options or 6 concentrations that deliver our core values. And those core values are applied, interdisciplinary, and responsive approaches, critical thinking and lifelong learning, cultural literacy, inclusion, and a respect for diversity, empowerment, personal agency, and civic engagement, ethical behavior and justice, and finally, last but certainly not least, student-centered and reciprocal learning. If you were to join our department, you would be working with faculty who contribute to distinctiveness at the level of our College of Liberal Arts, our campus, our Pennsylvania state system of higher education, and across the country. We are deeply involved in cross-campus collaborations. We are a community engaged faculty. Many of us are involved in boards and think tanks in the region, in the state, and in the country. We are devoted to faculty-student research and helping our students become active scholars. And finally, we are deeply committed to campus service, working on a number of committees. And for me, those are particularly devoted to issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our department is distinctive at all levels, at the level of the college, the campus, our PASHE system, and nationally. A couple of the things I want to talk with you about today is our capacity for individualized advising, which is very much connected to our self-designed emphasis area. If you declare a major in our department and then a concentration within that major, your advisor, and I am the advisor for Gender and Diversity Studies, I would work very closely with you to design a curriculum that is interdisciplinary and pulls from a number of departments that really addresses and meets your interests, your needs, and your hopes for the future. Our curriculum thus is really flexible, it's very agile, it's focused on transformational learning that is responsive to a changing world. And our world is changing dramatically. Sometimes it feels like from day to day. We also have a good record of post-graduation employment, and that's the practical piece, which I never want to underestimate. So if you've gotten this far, your next question might be, what is gender and diversity studies and what would I learn if I pursued this concentration? The Gender and Diversity Studies program provides interdisciplinary opportunities to understand gender and diversity in intersectional and overlapping contexts, and to analyze structural and systemic forms of privilege and oppression. And I want to pause here to say you can't understand oppression if you don't understand systems of privilege and power as well. Student scholars in this concentration share, present, and publish their work, and they develop themselves as professionals and leaders as they become lifelong learners who are curious, committed, respectful of diverse perspectives, and passionate about their ability to make our world a better place. It seems that many of the students come into this concentration in particular because of a commitment to social justice issues, and this is a good home for you if that's the case. What makes our program distinctive? A key answer to this is our curriculum. I would caution you to not make the mistake of thinking that this program and this concentration is just about, quote, men and women, end quote. Rather, what makes our program so distinctive is the degree to which we center our curriculum in social justice issues, as I just said. So we are talking about gender, but we're talking about sexual identity, expression, and orientation as well. We talk about gender, but we talk about race and structural racism as well. We talk about gender, but we talk about disability and disability discrimination. We talk about gender, but we talk about sizeism and ageism. So we cast our net quite wide. And if you were to declare this concentration, you'd have multiple opportunities to think about gender in a really deep context. So some of the things that we might talk about are the harms of structural racism. We might analyze the thin ideal and the damage that it can do to girls and women. I teach a course that analyzes porn culture. We also talk about the expectations of boys and men and how those expectations to be a quote real man end quote can trap them in what one scholar calls a man box. Another thing that makes our program distinctive is our co-curricular opportunities. We have diverse and relevant internships. We have regular programming throughout the year on gender and diversity issues. We publish a journal, Portmanteau, a journal on gender and intersectionality, and our students make up the editorial board, which is incredible in terms of experience you can get for the future. We have an independent studies class that is designed to meet your particular interests. And we have a gender studies club, which meets regularly. I'm the advisor to that. It's a student-run organization. They do incredible programming, and they provide opportunities for you to plug yourself into conferences and publications. This may lead you to ask the question, okay, I'm interested, but what are some of the careers in gender and diversity studies that I might pursue? In an increasingly global world, you'll be prepared to interact with diverse peoples in a range of job settings. And these are truly interdisciplinary. So you could go into business, and this major would give you an edge in dealing with a host of business partners and networks of other companies, especially in a global context. Counseling and psychology, if you are hoping to work with, say, troubled youth, it really helps to understand why bullying in a homophobic society might impact a child or a teen in ways that you're able to recognize. Criminology and sociology. It's useful if you're going into criminology to recognize the inherent racism in our current criminal justice system. Education and teaching. Health, medicine, and rehabilitation. If you don't know that there are health disparities along economic and racial lines in our society, you can't be as good a practitioner. A number of our majors go into human resources. We have a number of majors who pursue degrees and careers in music therapy. It's a concentration poised to help you if you go into a future with nonprofits, public relations and communication, social work, and public health. If you pursued the concentration in gender and diversity studies, as I noted, the options for you are really quite wide. You are required to take Introduction to Gender Studies, and then you would pick one course from a list that we provided on this slide, 2 courses provided on the slide below, and then 24 credits of emphasis area, which we would work together to determine. In other words, this is a unique opportunity for you to craft a degree which reflects your interests, your passions, your commitment, and to pursue knowledge that is critically important. I don't know if it's apparent from a voiceover, but I've been teaching gender studies for a decade. I've been teaching at Slippery Rock for longer than that. And if you bring a kind of passion and commitment to this concentration, I can promise you that I will meet you, because I also have a real commitment and a passion for the work that I do. I love teaching. I care deeply about social justice, and I'm committed to helping our students thrive. If you have any questions at all, I hope you'll email me. My email address is cindy.lacombe@sru.edu. And in my own effort to destabilize structures of power, if you feel like you want to email me for more information, please feel comfortable addressing me not as Dr. Lacombe, but as Cindy. Because even though I have my PhD, I prefer that everyone calls me Cindy, because I think that that's important in terms of equalizing our access to power. So thank you very much. I hope you have a good day.